Welcome to Unfold Data Science, friends. This is Aman here and I am a data scientist. In this video, I will show you with a sample data how XGBoost model is good in terms of performance and speed in comparison to other machine learning models. And I will also show you how you can tune the parameters of XGBoost using your knowledge of how XGBoost model works. So in my last two videos, I gave the theoretical explanation of how XGBoost model works and what are the important parameters of this model. In this video, I am going to demonstrate you how do you play around with this model and tune those parameters. Let's start the video. So what I am doing in the first step is I am importing some of the packages, right? So if you can see from NumPy load text, from XGBoost XGB classifier. So if you don't have XGBoost, you need to install using pip install, okay? And from sklearn model selection, I am taking trend test split. Then I take the accuracy score for calculating the accuracy, right? What I am doing next, let me run this part. What I am doing next is I am just importing some of the more models, logistic regression, k-nearest neighbors, and support vector classifier. I am doing this because I want to compare the performance of XGBoost model with these models, okay? So I'll run all these models and compare the performance. What is next? I'm just importing a simple data known as PEMA Indian diabetes data, okay? So this is Indian diabetes data which is available freely on Kaggle. I'll also put it in my drive, okay? And if you see this data, right? So let me run this and let me try to print this data first. If you see this data here, guys, first 8 columns, right? From here to here are different attributes of a person. For example, gender, height, weight, BMI, blood pressure, those kind of things. And the last column 8 is nothing but your diabetes, whether somebody has diabetes or does not have a diabetes, okay? So this is basically a classification problem. Now what is the shape of this data? How many records we have? Let us see that. We have 768 records and 9 columns as we saw, okay? What I will do next, I will just separate the independent features and dependent features, okay? So as I showed you, first 8 columns are independent columns, last column is the dependent columns, okay? Well and good till now. Let's move and break this into train and test. So X-train, X-test, this you already know, no need to explain here. I am taking the 20% size as the test size, okay? This loop is important here, guys. I am taking a list called models. In this list, I am keeping different types of models. For example, logistic regression, KNN, SVM, and XGBoost. I am also importing a time module just to capture the time of running of these models. And then I am just creating some of the list which I might be using inside the loop. What I am doing inside this for loop, I am just training X-train, Y-train on all these models one by one. I am making the predictions and then I am just printing the accuracy, okay? I have kept it very simple so that you can grasp it. Let me run this first, okay? So what happens when I run this, guys? This is the test accuracy basically. As you can see, accuracy score is equal to Y test predictions. Now, if you can see here, XGB model and logistic regression model are kind of similar kind of output it's giving, okay? This is the plain vanilla version of XGBoost that we are seeing here right now. Now, in my theoretical video, I had explained about some of the important hyperparameters for the XGBoost model. What is the first hyperparameter? Let us try with something known as eta, okay? So what is eta? Eta is nothing but how aggressively or how slowly you want to update your last value, okay? So new value is equal to, it is dependent on eta, how many times you want to multiply eta with the new prediction, okay? Default is 0.3, let me make it 0.1, okay? What happens if I make it 0.1? You will see that the accuracy of XGBoost model is increasing. Why that is happening? That is happening because we are giving a smaller steps to the model to take the next value. You can watch the theoretical video again if you want to understand it more better. So I am just decreasing the step size. Let me decrease it further, okay? So let me make it 0.1. Now I am decreasing the step size even more, okay? What happens here? If you see, my XGBoost model's performance is 81.17%, which is far ahead of these models, right? So with a small hyperparameter tuning eta and no such feature engineering, no such model tuning, no such fancy feature selection, feature reduction, those kind of things, I am able to achieve a good accuracy with just a small hyperparameter tuning. That is the power of XGBoost model. Now we also discussed about another parameter called gamma. So what is gamma? Gamma is by default 0. Okay. What is the job of gamma? The job of gamma is it controls the overfitting of the model. So if you increase the gamma value from 0, if you increase it, so let me increase it, gamma is equal to, let me put it 50. Okay, just an example. So what will happen is, in this case, the trees which will be created inside this XGBoost will not grow beyond a certain limit, which means we are pruning the tree. Okay, what is the advantage of doing this? The advantage of doing this is we are controlling the model overfitting. So I am expecting the accuracy to come down in this case. As you can see, the accuracy has come down, right, for XGBoost. Other models I am not doing anything, so it's constant. So let me make this gamma as 10. Okay, so I don't want to take a very aggressive approach to prune the tree. I just want to keep it at 10. Okay, when I do this, what I see here is a 78.57% XGBoost is giving, and it is still doing better than logistic regression model, right? So what we can see here is, with small hyperparameter tuning, for example eta, gamma, you can also give number of leaf nodes, many more parameters, right? We will be able to produce a more accurate and more robust model. That is important, guys. In logistic regression, if you want to play around with your model, you need to do many feature engineering, you need to do many regularization, those kind of things. Here, with some parameter passing, we are able to create a robust model with good accuracy. That is the power of XGBoost model in terms of performance. Now what happens in terms of speed? So I also tried to capture the speed of this model. So if you can see here, I am capturing the speed of how much time each model is taking to run. So I did not see a marginal decrease in XGBoost as compared to other models. So if you can see, Canon is running in 0.02, SVM is running in 0.12, whereas my XGBoost is taking 0.22 seconds, which is not what I expect. But the reason for that is, here we are dealing with how many records, guys? 768 records. So you might not be able to see the performance of XGBoost in terms of speed when you work on smaller data sets. That is number one. Number two is, when you are working in a distributed machine, or when you are working in a multi-server environment kind of things, then your XGBoost model will take advantage of multi-processor, multi-core, and you will see a significant shift in the speed of your XGBoost model as compared to your other models, right? But here with the smaller data, I am not able to demonstrate you how XGBoost model is performing better in terms of speed. Okay, in terms of performance, I explained you with different parameters tuning. What you have to do is take this file, run it on a larger data, okay, and just share with me if you are able to see a shift in the speed of the algorithm training, right? Still, if you have any doubts in terms of speed, performance, two of my theoretical videos, any aspect of XGBoost, any aspect of ensemble learning, write me in comment of this video, I will answer you. And just press the like button if you like this video, and any comments or feedback if you have, you can write in comment. I'll see you all in the next video. Till then, all of you stay safe and take care.